Do we have any school board committee reports at this stage?
There's no committees.
All right, well, thank you.
So you're going to change to a closed session now, right in the middle of this meeting?
That is the suggestion.
Well, I understand you want to accommodate your schedules, but we also have schedules and commitments and things like that. And I really don't think it's fair to midstream change the process that's always been. Maybe at your next meeting if you want to do that, but you need to make all of us well aware of that change. So we are all here for certain things, and this is how the agenda was going to be run. Now it's changing midstream, and I don't agree with it.
All right.
I'm going to agree with Ms. Marconi's statement. I think a lot of people have programs that they've been fighting for and want resolution on, and that's, I think, the discussion we need to have. I'm sorry about the other personnel decisions. Either way you slice it, we're going to be here till midnight. Optimistic.
All right, thank you. We have requested to move around the agenda, and thanks for everybody for their feedback. We will proceed with the agenda as it's written on the page. All right, thank you. Riverside Education.
Patty, anything?
Yeah, I'm just going to introduce myself. My name is Patty Gill. I'm the president of the Riverside Education Council. That is the union for our certified and non-certified staff. And on behalf of the REC, I would like to say welcome to our new board members and welcome to our new administrative team. And we look forward to working with you on doing what's best for the children of District 96. Thank you.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
Okay.
Nothing to
No.
Talking about the student enrollment? Okay. Numbers still the same?
Yep.
Thank you.
Now for the consent agenda. Any discussion? Oh, I'm sorry, I guess I want to move ahead. All right. We'll get to that closed session soon. All right, we get a report. Is it a report that we get on the FOIA situation?
I haven't given a report in the past. The FOIAs come to you by state law. That you have to see the FOIA request and response. Anything that is presented to the district prior to the date of submittal of the agenda, which is Thursday, and a response is filled, is presented to you. It's just for your information.
Now we move on to the consent agenda.
I move to adopt the consent agenda.
Second.
Roll call. Mr. Brockway?
Yes.
Mrs. Gaynor? Aye. Mr. Cordano?
Aye.
Mrs. Monroe? Aye. Mr. O'Brien?
Aye.
Mr. Perry?
Aye.
And Ms. Monk?
Aye. All right, the approval of the Education Committee recommendations, these are for, I think John just whispered to me what they are. They're the math, I think they're probably here.
They were listed in the packet for the positions that have been before the board in the past.
These are brand new, these are all brand new positions.
The addition of the library
Thank you so much.
the library specialist, as well as, yeah.
Oh,
And we took action last time, right? And we made the decision to end or table a number of these
ones were approved at the last meeting, and we're in the process of filling, as indicated this evening. But the ones highlighted in yellow were the ones that were tabled from the last meeting. Simply bringing that to your attention because it was on the agenda last time.
That'd be fine.
Do you want to list them out, or?
Let me,
Are we going to discuss each one?
well, let me list them, and library information specialist, inclusion facilitator, literacy growth coach, math growth coach, world language teacher, and instructional innovation specialist.
I would like to move that we approve the world language teacher recommendation.
No, jump at once.
I'm going to move that we do not proceed on a world language teacher at this time.
We have one motion that's not been seconded.
You have to deal with, you have to deal with.
Two motions.
You have to deal with first.
Because it has to be seconded before it has to be seconded.
And it has not been.
It has not been, so it's, now we can deal with the second motion, or which is to refer it, to table it.
We have some discussion.
Well, we have to
We
vote on it.
need a motion to discuss.
Just discuss it.
We need a motion and a second in order to,
I'll second your motion.
my motion? Okay. All right.
So now discussion on the first motion.
My reason for moving that we approve this is that we have had discussion over many years of introducing a world language program in District 96. It has origins back in the International Baccalaureate Study Group that worked on looking at programs and how we could take and adopt elements of that philosophy into our District 96 curriculum. And I believe included in our packet tonight was a presentation from the world language actual, sorry if I get the terminology wrong, the committee, the staff committee, that it also included a few parents and board members outlining the overview of the actual implementation. So this is a program that's been vetted through one International Baccalaureate committee that was composed of staff and parents, another committee that looked specifically at world language from a high level as a philosophy that was also staff and parents, and then finally through a committee of actual staff, parents, and board members to actually bring this to an implementation recommendation. I think that all of those groups did a wonderful job. I think this is an important opportunity for our students. And actually, Jennifer Lineberger is a former board member and parent who was involved in a lot of those discussions, and I thought she might have something helpful to contribute.
Thank you. I felt compelled to actually come to the meeting because I was head of the chair of the education committee kind of when all this was unfolding. I can understand why you want to table it. There's a lot in place right now. That said, it's starting on a very, very small scale. It's first and second grade only. It's 2 half-time teachers. You're talking about less than a full teacher to actually implement this. But if you do it, you got to do it now. Because these people need time to get hired and need time to design the program. Right, this is not a new discussion. This discussion has been festering in this community, and a desire that has come from this community at least 15 years ago. And it just kept getting kicked down the path for a variety of reasons. Enrollment went up, so people got distracted. We got to figure out where we're going to put all these kids. Other things became priority. It wasn't time to pull the trigger. Well, 3 years ago, we put it, the board, put it on our short-term strategic plan. That was vetted and accepted and agreed upon by the board. So we put it on our short-term strategic plan, we're gonna get this done, we're gonna finally get it off of our agenda and see if we can really implement this. Now, if the implementation group had come up with a non-feasible plan, something that was totally too expensive or it needed its own palace to happen in, it doesn't. In the end, after 4 years, it's 2 full-time teachers. It meets the needs for oral and for written language, so it's not an add-on. It's basically a swap out for things kids are already experiencing in their classrooms. They don't need a prep because this happens in the classroom where the regular classroom teacher is there. They don't need a space because it happens in the regular classroom. It's 2 full-time teachers after 4 years. Right now, you're talking 2 less than full-time teachers, 0.33 teachers. So it's not a question about whether or not the community wants it. It's not a question whether or not this community has envisioned this. It's been a long-standing vision that our kids are more ready for the global community that they're walking into, and we're preparing them for it. The question is, for you tonight, is this the time to actually start implementing it, or does that happen a year from now? And if the answer is no, we can't implement it right now, then I encourage you to please have a time frame for when you're going to try to implement it again. And, I set a realistic set of strategic goals about when you're going to implement it. And I get it. I'm watching all the things that are on your agenda tonight, and there's a lot of transition going on. But it's not that big of a scale. It's a really small scale. And it'll be a very focused program. And it'll bring some great things to the kids of this community that have been asked for a very long time. Unfortunately, you will learn very quickly, new members, things take a while. The board moves slow. I hope it doesn't move as slow, and that was our hope, that we could get conversations moving. This committee, all of these committees that have been doing this, there's not many other programs this community has accepted or gone through that have gone and jumped through so many hoops. They did the visioning, they went out and saw schools, they spent a lot of time talking about what would be best for our kids so it's not an add-on. And then they spent a whole year talking about implementation to make sure that it was sustainable and feasible. If you have any questions, I sent you stuff in email ahead of time so that I didn't have to spend so much time talking, and I couldn't help myself. So if you have any questions, please, been eyeballing this conversation and kind of facilitating and kind of keeping a track of this conversation for the last several years. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Jennifer.
I absolutely appreciate the investment in time, effort, and all the comments that Jennifer and Art have made about this. I think there's also another position on here that needs consideration as well. This is likely the library information specialist as well is something that I know their staff has been strained to meet the needs of our students as well as the needs of our teachers, and especially with regards to Common Core. This 21st century vision of our libraries should be a critical element of meeting the Common Core standards. I'll remind the members that we do have we expect to have a new director of academic excellence who's going to be reviewing the entire curriculum, the needs of our district. I would put out there that at least my feeling is that we should give that director that opportunity to vet that and see how that fits in with the vision of the curriculum and how it's going to be implemented and how it's going to attain the goals that we're trying to meet through Common Core.
I'm sorry, to vet which position?
All these positions.
All these positions. Okay.
I agree with David wholeheartedly, and I think in addition, what our school's going to look like, because we have a new superintendent coming in, we have a new director of academic excellence anticipating to come in. I think about what our curriculum and our day is going to look like is going to be completely different, even a few months from now. And I think that we need to have these changes take place and then see how it all plays out into the grand scheme of see that they don't fit into the scheme of things at the time and then have to take it away from them. In addition to that, and this covers most of the positions that on this list, with exception to, I'd like to address the inclusion facilitator. I think I'm all about inclusion. I have discussed with Range parents and mentioned that I think that we need inclusion, but I think the not way to not bring it. Okay. All right. All right. So, but I'm concerned that the job description of the inclusion as is too generic, and we're not going to successfully implement inclusion with the job description we have. My recommendation with regard to inclusion facilitator is in lieu of adding a position, I'd move to ask for a proposal from Paula Clues, who's the local expert on inclusion, as far as bringing the position, to be able to bring inclusion into our district, but giving it the benefit of knowing somebody who's a successful track record, and without marrying ourselves to a position we may or may not be successful based upon a job description.
So just to reiterate, you're proposing maybe bringing a consultant to do it.
Yes, so out of that, I'm moving to ask that we can.
Well, before we make a motion, we have to deal with the motion that's on the
Where's the
floor.
motion? I'm sorry,
Sure,
you're right.
that's
My
fine.
bad.
No,
My bad. I
it's all
forgot
good
about it.
discussion. I think it's great. So,
Okay.
yeah, my motion was just limited only to one position on the list, one language teacher.
I think in general, it's just unfortunately with boards, especially, this board, this challenge is just an ever-evolving educational landscape. And it's always, there's not budget issues, finance issues, this thing's coming down from Springfield, coming down, federally, pension reform that could put a wrench in things. Common Core now is kind of right in front of us now. No, you can't be pushing that back any further. It just seems like this just keeps on changing. The landscape keeps on changing on us, and we have to keep on dealing with it.
I'm going to remind you that the committee also made alignments for the world language position and world language curriculum to meet the Common Core standards. So that's not like
But we
we're
have
now
other.
we're not doing that.
Yes, I understand. Well, Common Core brings a lot more to the table that we have to deal with, those issues. That's what we're looking for from our new Director of Academic Excellence, and as well as our new superintendent, to give us that path towards attaining all those goals. Whether it includes world language or, an inclusion specialist, however, but we want our experts to lead us on it, lead us on that path.
I would just comment too, last month I also thought it was important that we put finances into a financial role, and that's not been accomplished. So I think that task item needs to be put on the finance committee agenda or wherever. Because I think all of these positions have merit and importance to our education system. And how do we make sure that we prioritize when and where, what we're going to do with each of them? Because I think they all have good pieces for kids. It's just, I'd like to have a priorities come from the new Director of Academic Excellence, the new superintendent, to merge that with the finances and then come to me with, well, this is how it lines up in our minds.
Yeah, provide that justification.
So,
The motion on the floor is to discuss this issue.
Motion is approved.
Approved.
So we can have a roll call.
Mrs. Gable. Nay.
Mr. Kodama. Mrs. Morello. Mr. O'Brien.
Nay.
Mr. Perry.
Nay.
Mr. Brown. And Ms. Hunter.
We're unanimous.
Now we have the rest of the positions. Do we want to, can we make a motion to might address all of them?
I move that we table the rest of the position discussion decisions until like everything we just discussed.
Yeah, but with the
You know, we put
anticipation
some
that,
strategy behind
yeah,
where
that's
we're
what I'm
gonna
going
go with it.
for, yes.
Continuing to table it month after month is not an answer, because I think there's people that think part of these programs are important, and there's a few key pieces that we don't have, so can we
Oh, and
make a strategy to say, okay, once we get these committees in place, we're gonna put the finance and the finance committee's agenda to get that done and brought back to the.
And just to reiterate, on that last vote we just took, we're not saying that we're not going to
No, I
consider
just
this
wanted-
in the future, right, for the world language.
no, but I would like to see us leave here with the anticipation that at our next board meeting, that we're gonna have financial analysis completed, and that we're gonna have at least that first discussion with our Director of Academic Excellence, hopefully with Director of Finance, and our Superintendent. Who else? So we have the people that need to be in the discussion, and they bring us some, at least preliminary talking points about what they would like to see for our discussion.
Well, I agree that's would be a directive, but once we get assembling the pieces to review this with good information.
Are these positions, have they been recommended by this group, or have they been recommended by individual people, separate positions? What's the?
Some by committee and some by our district leadership. Correct. Am I just right?
But they're not, they're independent, they're each independent, right? There's no, like, set here. Yeah.
Well, you have like the student growth.
Yeah,
Position.
you know, we keep kicking the proverbial can down the street, whether it's world language or inclusion specialist, or library, or instructional innovation specialist. Well, we gotta get some projected numbers, we gotta, you know, I see that this is a lot on the list. I'm gonna make a motion that we kick out literacy growth coach and math growth coach, because I don't think those positions are important, and I don't think there's any need to put that on our plate.
Yeah, I would support that. Not that there's no support for it, but at least from my vantage point, the priorities, I mean, if we're talking about a limited budget, which we are, in the resources, I would put higher priority on these other positions outside of growth coaches. So,
Can we get
I
a second?
seconded.
yeah, Rachel, thank you.
Could I just add a little bit to your question, Randy? All these were vetted by the Education Committee. Those particular positions actually arose from staff concerns. So there's been an ongoing conversation. Doesn't mean that they can't be set aside. It just means that there's a history of going to staff in terms of what they deem necessary to be successful in their positions with the students that are coming to them, as well as the program that we're expecting, the program is simply ratchet. So that doesn't mean that, these came as an ongoing conversation with staff in terms of how to support them in the best way we possibly could. So there's been a history for each of them, but each one was vetted by the Education Committee, and that's why they've been a topic of conversation.
I think at the committee meeting, though, there was most discussion, favorable discussion with regards, at least some, with the library information specialists, the world language teacher, and then there was, just a little, some questions, some discussion, and some support for inclusion type of facilitator or instructional innovation specialist, but the growth coaches, I don't believe, from my recollection, had a lot of, there's more questions than anything.
So I would say that this motion, however it goes, if it passes, that this is sort of just, let's take it back to the staff and have them bring it back to the ed committee as more information is learned and vetted.
I would say if we vote on this, if this could be brought up next year, that's where I'm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, and on
That's
these,
what I mean.
on these two specific positions.
So we would like the focus on the four remaining.
Now we
Two
gotta
now.
vote on the motion.
is that, why was that handled differently? Or why is it the exception to these others?
My position was that it met a immediate deficiency in our curriculum to meet the needs that, per our mission statement, to provide the challenging academic environment for certain student population, for certain students. And for years now, back when, for my kids, just, it wasn't fulfilling their need. One day of math just wasn't cutting it, just was never cutting it. And there was year after year complaints about that. And my position was that it needs to be addressed immediately.
On that topic, can we get an update? There were some open questions about how that actual fifth grade program is going to be designed. Have all those things been worked out?
He gave us our expectation for next year for the schedule and the number of districts.
We anticipated a number of students that qualify, that's still being reassessed, but that was the design that will be implemented for next year.
Can we get can you just stick a particular out there so we can get an update when we know more about those numbers and stuff? Because I think that was sort of still.
Yeah, and I agree, and that is I believe it's an open question to our administration, to our math team, how to best implement that in the most efficient manner. Is there something that we can do? Right now there's two expected in Hollywood. That drops to one. I mean, is there a way that we can get better utilization from our teacher?
Yeah, for the benefit of the audience, the question is, the board at the last meeting, when this was approved, asked a number of participants per building, because in fifth grade at Hollywood with one section is different than fifth grade at Central with 3 to 4 sections, depending on the year, et cetera. Same thing at Dwight. And so Janice went back to the Quest Committee, Math Committee, and asked them in terms of schedule, and the design was put in place that we'd have one teacher to be able to specialize in math that would then be at each building every day. So that's a lot of traveling among schools, and I would think it's a great idea to keep revisiting what the best schedule would be depending on the number of students who qualify for that support.
John, there's 31 students for that program. And it's like there's 31 across all the schools instead.
Janice, does that sound right?
I couldn't hear.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is 31 students typical?
Yeah.
I mean, that's not a huge or little, well, it's just more.
It's in our typical range.
If we finish with this, we need a motion to table.
Do we need any other table? If you're going to table the 4.
I did move that we tabled we now changed that. Sorry.
The 4.
Gotta-
The four.
Unless you want to check anything else down the road.
So we have a motion on the floor to table, and it's been seconded.
Second.
Sorry, just lost my place.
Yeah, so we're looking at the library information specialist, English facilitator, and world language, and social